Hi everybody, welcome to my disaster. So first things first, we're going to show you how to cook and clean at the same time. How about that? Look at this disaster. Now you might be freaking out, and I apologize for the needles, but I am a diabetic. You guys might be freaking out over this, but it really looks worse than it is, especially if you organize yourself. All right, but yeah, this is a complete disaster. So we are going to clean and cook at the same time and whip this kitchen into shape. How about that? All right, guys, I'm back. So the first thing, obviously, as if every cleaning video I do, you have to organize yourself. These dishes in the water have already been soaking. Some of them are dried, as you can see, so they will need soaked. I've got foodstuffs to put away. Coffee creamer, jelly that was left out. So let's do that first. So the jelly goes in here. Put all this stuff away and get as much cleared out as you can. I'm going to get a drink of coffee here. Made some fresh coffee earlier. Been on the phone all trying to get doctors straight. I don't know if you guys have dealt with like a whole gaggle of doctors, but been on the phone trying to get doctor's appointments set up, and we don't have a car, so we have to rely on taxi service that our state Medicaid sponsors. But I have to schedule that in too. So I got a bad case of dry mouth. All right. Now we got to find the bottom of our sink somewhere. Okay, so I always put the silverware, knives, and stuff in the water anyway. Stuff like this. This looks like something you do in the restaurants. I tell you, we got to dump that out. Into the garbage goes, and then we can rinse the jelly out later. See, there's jelly in the bottom underneath all of that, and we can rinse that out later on. But what we're trying to do is get to the bottom of the sink so that we can refill it with hot soapy water. So to that end, you're going to unbury everything. Now normally I would have, as in the last video, I would have used the oven door. However, we're going to bake off some salmon and we're making fish and chips tonight for dinner, so we're gonna have to use the oven to bake things off with. So I can't have that. I can't have the door open and cook that up at the same time. And it's kind of, the cooking part is the easy part for me, especially for me, because one, I used to be a chef, and two, I'm lazy and got most everything done pre-done, pre-packaged kind of thing. Okay. See, when you soak it, they pretty much wash themselves, but there's a few things that need scrubbed off. Just trying to make room here. And I'm going to temporarily use the oven door until I can get this sink straightened out. Alrighty then. So, refreshing it with hot soapy water once again. Make sure you rinse. Take the time to rinse things off a little bit before you put them in your sink, because when you do that, it makes your life a lot easier when it comes to washing it up. If it'll come off. This is stuff like peanut butter and things generally don't come off. Dried on rice is also fun. So I'm going to show you that, and then I'm going to try to back you off as far as I can so that you can see the whole thing of what I'm doing. So I'll be right back. All right. Well, outside of the glowing white chest that was there. Sorry, I do a lot of my cooking and stuff now with my shirt off. It just saves on. It saves on laundry. You know. So, what I'm trying to do is organize everything here, and get it cleaned up. Stuff like leftover foods. If you have a trap in your sink, which you should, because having a trap in your sink is always a good idea. I gotta restack all of this. Rinsing out the coffee cups. That's what I'm doing here, is rinsing out coffee cups. We managed to find the bottom of the sink. But what I was doing was rinsing out my coffee cups, rinsing out my bowls, getting all the food and debris into the sink so that we can clean it up there. Just things like that. You don't want You want to cut down on the debris as much as you can because that'll make your soapy water last a lot longer. Here you go, whole pile of leftover foods, debris, all of that. That's why I recommend a filter for your sink. Even if you have a garbage disposal. Even if you have a garbage disposal, the sink, or having a screen in your sink is always a good idea. Alright, I've got to wash my hands. We're going to put away a few of these dishes so I have a little more room. So I usually just use the fresh sink water because all I need is to knock the grease and stuff off real quick. All of these, my tools. This thing back together here. Ah. All right. Go. That'll be a little better. Wifey left cookies in the kitchen for me. She's trying to test me to see how many of them I will eat. So I'm not sure where to put these, but I guess they're going to live over here for now. Butter dish. It needs butter in it. Okay, gotta rinse that out. I try, because we're cooking and everything, I want to make sure that I have enough counter space and it's all nice and clean. So we got to clean up the counter a bit. All right, now the reason I did that is because I know that by the time I get all these dishes done, I'm not going to have this counter space, okay? So what I'm going to do with this is, sorry for the view, everything is lower than my face. So you got a headless cook. I'm going to get a meal prepared and ready to go, and then that way, because by the time I'm done with this counter or the dishes, I'm not going to have space. And that is frustrating, but it's the way it is. I won't have the space for the to do my work. So, for everybody out there, whether you're living alone, live at home mom, whatever, don't be afraid to pre-prep food for dinner. So, let's see. I've got fish and chips. Here's the chips. And of course I can't read anything because I forgot my glasses. One moment. I'll be right back. Sometimes you have to ad-lib things because of temperatures. Because if you're cooking stuff in the oven at the same time, not everything is supposed to be at the same temperature. Okay, so these are both 425s. Oh, look, salmon. And this is supposed to be baked at 400. So I will, since my wife is asleep, I will probably not make both at the same time. So I'm going to pause the video so that we can do the cooking video and the cleaning video separate. Be back. Okay, now to continue this mess. I am going to make some space in the dish rack. Okay, that's put away. Now I usually listen to music while I'm doing the dishes, jam out, space out, because you know there's nothing else much to do. But I'm just trying to clear off. I'm just trying to make some space and clear off things. So that's the project right now. Sorry about bumping the camera. I know for some of you it might make you a little sick, and I apologize for that. I totally understand it, because it sometimes does that to me too. All right. Alright, so I took those out to where I'm going to put them away later. Now, everybody seems to be in this whole thing about having to do everything all at once, or having to do a complete job, which would be great. But for those of us who have medical issues, that's just not possible. Like, this whole dish thing is going to take me a minute. I'm already hurting as it is, so just bear with me. Alright, so let's start with get some running water for the rinse water. Some of the little debris I just let go down, if it will. We'll just start. This is a magic tool for doing up your glasses. So I stick it all the way down to the bottom. You can wash the bottom that way, and then just do circles all the way up. Get it covered. Take it and run it around the edge for that debris left from drinking. See, wipe the outside. You can do a pretty good job on the handle. I usually rinse in either like cool water or lukewarm water. And that's because my sink water is so hot that like my wife couldn't stick her hands in there. So, and the reason I say it like that is because I used to be a chef, and my hands have no nerves left from all that time spent over grills and broilers and in ovens and things like that. You build up a heat tolerance, as you well know, with anything, whether it's weather or heat or cold, or, you know, my hands can't deal with the cold, but they can deal with the heat. And yes, I know my stomach hangs over the sink. I am trying to fix the stomach issue. I'd like to get back down to about 180 again, but right now it's just a challenge doing a whole lot of anything. When your body is to that point where it's not running as well as it should, you know. But mine's doing good for everything I've put it through so far. And for you kids who have picky parents that don't like sud stains or suds on the dishes when you put them away, Don't forget, if you do dishes by hand, to wash your hand, rinse off the suds off your hands along with the cup that you're doing, because that's where all the suds come from. You can do an amazing job of rinsing, but if you have suds on your hands, it's going to be on your dishes. So that's why I rinse myself off every time I do this. And for you ladies who are doing dishes like this by hand, I know there's probably not a whole lot anymore to do it like this, but if you do it by hand, don't forget the moisturizing lotion afterwards, because most of these soaps will dry the heck out of your hands, and your hands will need refreshing. Ouch. That was the stove. Oh. I love this for the colanders. And you can do it on the inside too. Now when you do your cooking, and this has, I know this probably should be in a cooking video too, but when you do your cooking and rinse your and use a tool or a bowl or something, especially a colander, like any of the colanders, rinse them out before they dry. Because if you have dried on food, that's going to make you sit and wait a lot longer than you really want to. Okay, so we're down to, get these off the counter. We're down to the pots that have been soaking. I prefer the bigger sponges for the pots, just because if there is a piece of stubborn food that's stuck on, I can get it off with a scrubby, with the back scrubby part. We used to call them green scratchies in the business. But see, like I don't know if you can see it, but there's stuck on food up here. So a little bit of quick scrubby. Check your pan out, make sure you got it all, and then set it up to dry. Always double check your pans, all of your dishes, just to make sure that you got it. You can do that right before you set it down to dry. If you have a dishwasher, check it when you're putting it away out of the dishwasher. If it didn't get it all, then you'll have to rerun that with the next load. But right now, all I'm doing is the dishes, trying to get things organized, cleaned up. You saw the kitchen cleaning that I have to do. And it's my own fault. I'm not going to blame anybody but me, because your Wookiee boy got lazy and decided he wasn't going to do anything but sit on his butt the last couple of days. And this is the result. Not keeping up with dishes. Now, I know these are dog bowls, but they've had oil on them, and I wanted to get them to soak. Yeah, that was pumpkin coffee, if you're wondering. And the stuff that came out of the bottom was all the spices. So if you flavor your coffees at home like that, that's what you get to look forward to. So let's see here if I can manage to get the oil out of these real quick. so I have room for more cups. Alright, so with the oil you have to use the light, reflect it off, and make sure there's nothing shining back at you except water. Oil will leave a film on the bottom of your dishes, especially if they're plastics, and you can see that when you reflect it, when you look at it that way in the mirror or in the light. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking it, looking at the bottom, seeing if there's anything down there. See, oh, squeak test passed. So all this down there is water. So we got that. That's coolness. Okay. Now, let's see here. She is, but she is out cold on a muscle relaxer.
Okay. Do you want to reschedule it?
We can either reschedule it, or I can do it. Either or.
Yeah. Well, usually I have to have like her there also.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me look at the calendar. Back to what we were doing. Sorry about that. I had a important phone call to get a hold of. So we're soaking the cups right now. Got some of I did get some of the pans and stuff done, as you saw. So let's continue with the rinse off of the dishes. Now, I usually do it as hot of water as I can stand, because stuff like this jelly here, that hot water will help to melt it off. See? Okay. Trying to get all the plastics and stuff together, because the plastics have to go next. And then pans that we're soaking get to go. So these pans were the other ones that were soaking. I'm going to go ahead and get those done. I think this is the last glass. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just kind of stacking dishes up over here to try and get going here. Now I have a gas oven, so you just really don't want to turn on your oven with plastic on it. But you do want to stack your dishes so that you can organize. And what I mean by organize is get all the dishes together, like all the bowls in one place and all the cups in another and stuff like that. So that you can just run through them. And some of you guys who think that, you know, don't like the fast food biz, I don't blame you. It's not the easiest place to work. But whatever you learn, no matter where it is, you might end up using it later on in life. So it's kind of funny how that ends up coming around and biting me a lot. You know, I've done a lot of different jobs. Everybody, there are people who have careers that stay at the same job for 20 years. You know what? That's boring and repetitive. I don't mind moving jobs. I don't mind moving around. I don't mind if I have to start over at another place. So here we go. See, here is your debris. And that's the kind of stuff you're watching out for when you do your dishes. Okay. Alright, there's those. Let's see if this quick soak did any good. So as you can see there's debris on the bottom down here. Right in here. I sometimes try and rinse it out a little bit, but that's why I like this scrub head. It's because you can get down there and wipe it. As I said in previous videos, my hands are too big to get into glasses. So they're for grabbing stuff and securely holding on. And yes, you can take that however you want to. But since this is a PG channel, I can't let my humor out. But as you can see, a lot of the times I won't do the handles because of cracks or breaks or something in there. And don't worry, the minute you soak them in the water, the soapy water starts to kill the bacteria. So that's the other thing you don't have to worry a whole lot about is the bacteria. Alright, let's get the big guy here. I left a little soap in because it's still got some debris and crap in there. I look at the coffee creamer and go, man, I drink that stuff. I love the coffee creamer. I like that thick, rich, creamy. And if I were to get natural cream, I think I would end up looking like the Hindenburg's bigger brother. But so I get the powdered stuff. See, you can even put it in here. See, look. All the way down to the bottom. So your measuring cups. This is our coffee creamer cup, coffee creamer measurer. You know, you can do stuff like that. Be creative a little bit. I still got these some of this stuff up here to wash up in the front here. All of that I have to wash yet. She uses syringes to give the dogs Pepto-Bismol and dewormer and stuff like that, since we have our service dogs. So nobody freak out about the whole drug thing. We do not do drugs in this house. This is a drug-free house, except for the medications that our doctors prescribe. But, you know, the rest of it, we don't do. Don't touch. So, and I don't recommend doing it anyway. It's just bad juju. You can argue with me about that if you want, but, you know, my younger sister ruined herself with it, and I think my older sister, one or two of my older sisters did too. I have one that I haven't seen since I was a child, and I don't even know if she's still alive anymore. Because that side of the family pretty well disowned my dad, because they didn't see what kind of a treasure the man was. So, I've had my real dad, of course, and then I had an adopted dad that passed on to the next life earlier this month, or no, it was last month. And he will be missed. He will be missed a lot. But, you know, I have my own belief system, and my brother has one that's completely separate from mine. So a lot of mine comes from personal experience. So I kind of So yeah, I have my own belief system. My brother has his, and just we both miss him, but you know, I'm not going to go into details because that's not what this channel's about or for. However, like I said, he passed on, and I had a younger sister as well pass on, and I know, and it's just kind of ugly what that kind of stuff does to you. So my drug warning is this: don't do it. Just don't. And if the doctors want you to be on opioids, see, I missed some down here. I missed it. Do your best to stay off of it unless the pain demands it, because that stuff leads to trouble too. And I know you want to find relief. See, look, all nice and shiny. I know you want to find pain relief, but sometimes the opioids just, you know, for me they make me high. They give me that high feeling without the pain relief. So I refuse to take them anymore. All right, plastics coming up. Now this one got water put in it earlier, There's the dried beans one. So I'm going to let those soak for a minute and try and get this door closed and stuff cleaned up a little bit. So to describe what I'm doing, because my Wondermus tablet, I can't move around a lot. There, gotta put the power cord back in it. I got the dishes off the door to the oven, and I am now going to wipe off all of the excess water and stuff, and all the nasty water, all of that. Clean up the stove door, and then we're going to close it up and start the oven up and get it rolling. Sorry about the bright light. I left the back door open for a little more light in here. Alright, so we are going to shut the door. It's ready to go, but I don't want to start it yet because I've got stuff on the oven. So I'm going to straighten the rug back out that I tripped over earlier. And take a few. Okay, sorry for the pause. Had to go grab some food and sit down for a minute to let my back rest. All right, so since these have been soaking for a minute, let's get her done. This also works on stuff like these little cups here that one of one of our subscribers had got for us. And thank you again. I really do appreciate it, and as you can see, we use them all the time. They're great for storing things like butter and sauces and odds and ends like that. Nope, that's not something I can scrape off. The snow goes white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. A kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the king. The wind is howling like the swirling storm inside. I couldn't keep it in, heaven knows I've tried. Okay, get the plastic done. This thing is also great for odds and ends dishes like this, where now the reason I said it's great is because if you're in a hurry and you're trying to do these dishes fast, because you know you got a hot date tonight or something like that, or you got to get it done so that you can go do whatever else that you wanted to do in the first place. And trust me, I understand that. All right, the reason I move the soap around like this is to see into the bottom of the dish sink for things like that. Okay, because if you have a good set of knives and they're sitting in the sink water or the soapy water, they can disappear quick until you find them with your hand. Or your finger floats to the top of the water. I have one guy at a restaurant. We're teaching him how to sharpen the carving knives and stuff. And he was a disaster. Once again, drug warning came into effect. Don't do it. So he came in high as a kite. The boss still let him work and let him play with the knives. Yeah, that was not a good thing. Because I told the boss I didn't want him anywhere near my station at the time. Because I didn't want him to hurt himself. And I know what it's like to. Oops. If you take too much Tylenol or too much ibuprofen, you can get double vision and crap like that too. So I know I did that when I was a kid once. That was no fun either. Hated that feeling. Still do. Alright. Whole lot of butter knives here. Now I like to do the butter knives. I don't usually separate out my silverware, but as you can see, I've got the thick, heavy duty silverware, and I like it that way. You know, the reason I like the big, heavy duty silverware is because if you've ever scraped ice cream out of a container that's frozen, and you don't have a good set of silverware, it's going to bend it all to schnizzle. Growing up, I couldn't tell you how many spoons I destroyed that way. And I would bend the spoons and straighten them out, and then, you know, you can only do that so many times before the metal just gives in and they break. Alright, let's see. What do we have here? I usually do something like this. So I spread them out like this so that you can get to everything. Front, back. Ribbons. Ribbons off. And then set them in. I normally don't group my silverware by, like, you know, all spoons and stuff, but I've got straws in here that I have to get a hold of, and it's easier if I do it that way. Forks, what's left? Spoon. So it's just easier if I do it that way. I can only do about 5 or 6 at a time anyway, and actually feel good about getting them clean. Sometimes you might have to move them in your hands. Like I said, I've got big hands, so if you've got small hands, you might not be able to grab as many, and that's totally fine. There's nobody judging anybody about anything. You know, we're all citizens of Earth here, so it's all good. Now the reason I went ahead and went through with the silverware is the fact that I'm going to set some bowls and stuff in here to soak, and the water's starting to cool off anyway, so we're probably going to end up having to change it at some point in time here, but like I said, the reason I did it that way is because of that. Alright, shut down your water. These bowls. Almost fumbled that one all the heck, didn't I? Okay, all squished in there. More squished in there. Okay, here we go. Got that bowl in there. So all we have now is 3 pans left after this load, which is groovy. Be back.